Hey my friends, Dan Vasc here, and you look good today. Is that a new haircut? Well, I'm still a little bit sick. Can't sing yet. So we're getting a different kind of video today. Those are my top 10 singing influences. And before you start sending me death threats because you didn't see your favorite singer here, you might want to notice the fact that those are not necessarily my top 10 best singers of all time. Those are my top 10 singers that most influenced me and my voice. So let's begin.
Number 10. John SCHLITT. The reason he's low on the list is that I didn't conserve all of the vocal aspects of his influence, but one could argue that he's the most important singer on this top 10, because he was the singer that made me decide to be a singer. It was 2008, I was listening to the track Jekyll and Hyde from the album with the same name by his band Petra, and I was so amazed by the harshness and raw power of his vocals that I said, I must learn how to do this. And so I did. Thank you, John, you changed my life. Number 9. Matthias Nygaard. The first time I heard and saw Teresa's was like, holy crap, this is freaking badass. It greatly helped to build my current notion of how a metal singer is supposed to look like, and gave me the realization that metal must not be only experienced with your ears, but with your eyes as well. Matthias' vocals encouraged me to pursue control of the low ends of my vocal extension and also to develop the harsh extreme metal vocals, which I still didn't have the opportunity to use on a video, but I surely intend to. Singers like him are the living proof that not being a tenor is not an excuse to not have a powerful voice. He also helped me to shape the way I record my more raw and Viking sounding choirs. Interesting fact, Teresa's was the first famous band that I ever went to see live. Their first track I listened to and that got me hooked up immediately was To Homeguard and Beyond from the album The Varangian Way. Number 8. Hansi Kirsch. The first time I listened to Blind Guardian, I was in a friend's home playing RPG. I was fascinated by the medieval sound evoking a fantasy fairy tale setting, to the point that we were using it as a soundtrack for our Dungeons and Dragons adventures. I didn't even know that there were bands doing this kind of music. Later on, I heard the more heavy metal stuff and my passion was confirmed. The way Hansi changes his vocal approach from a serene bard telling a story by a campfire to an angry tavern owner punching a drunken orc on the face was what called my attention the most. The way he makes his vocal harmonies also impact my own approach to one-man choirs. For the serene medieval approach, I'll recommend you to listen the BARD'S song from the album Somewhere Far Beyond. You can also check my cover of it. For the more heavy metal stuff, check Mirror Mirror from the album Nightfall in Middle Earth, which I intend to cover too. Number 7. ZP Thart. Like many people, the first time I heard about Dragon Force was on Guitar Hero 3. I immediately went after the band's entire discography, and I literally would skip my college classes staying home singing entire albums in a row trying to imitate what I was hearing. Through ZP, I learned how to use my head voice more effortlessly, and his fast vibratos helped me to improve my agility a lot. Singing Dragon Force also forced me to improve my breathing game a lot, to be able to survive those long phrases without pause. I retained as well a lot of influence from his stage presence, the way he doesn't take himself too seriously on stage, making jokes, going down to the crowd and just having fun resonates a lot with me. Besides Through the Fire and Flames, of course, where you can check the musical prowess of all the band, ZP's vocals particularly shine on the track Fury of the Storm from the album Sonic Firestorm. His performance on the 2004 Live in Japan version is particularly impressive. Number 6. Tobias Sammet. Avantasia was one of my first experiences with power metal. The metal opera albums got me addicted right away. The thing about Tobias Sammet is that he uses the tone of his voice in a way that even his mid-range sounds like high notes. His slow and dramatic vibrato also influenced me a lot in contrast with the faster one that I learned from ZP. He interprets a story with his vocal performance, which is so important for a singer, especially on a musical style that so many singers sound so much alike. Most of them don't realize that a singer is also supposed to be an actor, just like an opera. Well, a metal opera in this case. And that realization came from me through this amazing vocalist. My recommended track for you to see what I'm talking about is Reach Out for the Light from the album The Metal Opera Part 1, where he's joined by Michael Kiske on the choruses. Number 5, Steve Perry. Steve Perry is one of those names that comes out of your mouth like if you were speaking about the Bigfoot or aliens. The guy's a freaking legend. Such a pristine example of how to sing your heart out every single time. Some of the biggest lessons I learned from his voice is how to give attack to the notes without sounding too aggressive, and how to explore the high ends of my extension without sounding like a scream. The man singing is a perfect balance of gentle precision, like a calm but assertive badass. My track recommendation here is Faithfully from the album From Tears, as well as all the live versions you can find of it. Also check my own cover of this beautiful song. Number 4, Tony Kakko. I had the opportunity to go see Sonata Arctica live last year, and oh boy, Mr. Tony Kakko can sing. He's probably the most precisely on-tune singer that I ever saw live. The album Ecliptica was very important to my formation both as a singer and as a songwriter. Tony's masterful precision and agility, plus his very tasteful use of the vocal drive on the right amount without losing the melodic aspect, were some of the things that gave me hours and hours and hours of listening, of studying and practicing to try to incorporate it into my own vocals. I recommend you to listen to the song Replica from the previously mentioned Ecliptica album. Number 3, Michael Kiske. We often say that so-and-so singer is like wine, they get better as they grow old, but dude, this gentleman takes that expression to a whole new level. I mean, have you listened to the most recent releases of Unisonic and their live shows and compare them to Halloween's Keeper of the Seven Keys albums? He actually sounds objectively better on the recent performances. I took a lot of his signature vibrato to myself, and also his ability to go from chest to head voice without bumps or breaks while conserving the power and volume. You can bet all your pumpkins that you will be seeing a lot of Halloween and also Unisonic on this channel. Check Unisonic's live version of March of Time on WACKEN 2016, and also check the cover I did of Halloween's I Want Out. Number 2, Fabio Lione. Oh my god. I can't even begin to explain properly how important this man was for my singing. It was such a hard pill to swallow the first time I heard him because it was so different from everything else I've ever heard. The fullness and power of his tone maintained through the highest registers where most normal singers start to sound like 12-year-old girls, the meticulously intentional vibrato, the masterful interpretation without overacting, and those operatic vocals that kicked my half-Italian ass so hard that I had to go deeper into opera and Italian music myself. I had the chance to see him live with Angra last year, and his charismatic energy on stage was a truly inspiring learning experience as well. To check this majestic sounding metal warrior, go listen to Emerald Sword from Rhapsody of Fire's album Symphony of Enchanted Lands. And now my number 1 singing influence is Eric Adams. This is by far the singer I spent most hours of my life meticulously studying, analyzing, observing every little detail, not only of his voice, but of his attitude, presence, and personality on stage. The man is the incarnation of musical testosterone. As I said before, a lot of singers have problems sounding manly on higher registers. Especially here on YouTube. There's a lot to learn from Eric, especially on that regard. And a lot of people say, singers can't work out because the muscles get tense and blah blah blah. bullshit. Look at the guy, he's buffed. I know that has nothing to do with singing, but as I already said, music is about the visuals as well. Plus, it's fucking cool. The guy is 65 years old, and he looks and sounds better than most 25-year-olds. His harsh, powerful vocal drive comes like a battle axe, ripping and tearing its way through the song in pure relentless wrath. But also knows how to sing a ballad with his soft melodic lows as well. Jesus Christ, now I feel like listening to some Manowar, so I'm gonna wrap this up saying that it's one of my main goals in life to step on a stage with this man one day. I'm going to listen now to one of my favorite Manowar tracks, Call to Arms, from the album Warriors of the World. Make sure you go check it too, and also check the Manowar covers I did on this channel.
Alright my friends, do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? What are your favorite singers of all time? Let me know down below in the comments. Here's a couple more videos for you to watch. I'll see you again in a few days, hopefully with a singing video, and until then, my friends, have yourselves an epic day.